on to our next speaker and our next host after her session, Miss Tina Parker. I can see that she's there on the video. Thanks for being here, Tina.
Hi, Leanna. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. So just to give a little bit of an introduction of Tina for everyone, Tina is the founder and CEO of Lead Outside the Lines. She is also the CMO of the Mentor Project. She is a recognized leadership coach, trainer, and speaker. And she is going to be speaking to us today on authentic leadership, the key to gaining a competitive advantage. So thank you so much for being here, Tina.
Thanks, Leanna, and thank you for hosting. I guess I'm taking over after this one.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your day as well.
Thanks, you too. So hello to everyone joining us from wherever you are in the world. It is a privilege to be here virtually with all of you and the One Business World team. Thank you so much for tuning in and for spending the next 20 minutes with me to dive into how courageously authentic leadership is the key to your competitive advantage in the marketplace. Now, I don't have any slides. I figured we would just chat for 20 minutes. Just so you know who I am, again, Leanna gave me a bit of an intro, but my name is Tina Parker. And as Leanna mentioned, I am the founder and CEO of Lead Outside the Lines. It's a science-backed, heart-centered, transformational life and leadership coaching company, guiding professionals to stop checking the boxes and start leading courageously authentic lives. I'm also a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserve and the chief marketing officer for the incredible nonprofit, The Mentor Project, led by founder Debbie Heiser. I'm also a devoted wife and mother. So just like all of you leading entrepreneurs of the world out there listening right now, I wear many hats. And as entrepreneurs, we all do. There's a lot riding on our shoulders. And when you're starting your business, you wear every hat imaginable, right? We're juggling every ball in the air. And as we grow and bring on a team, we're confronted with even more challenges and greater opportunities for growth. It's very exciting, but it can also be overwhelming and confusing, right? And I know we get into this space because we believe in what we're bringing to the world. And we want our ideal clients and customers to know all about what we offer and how we have the answer to solve their biggest pain points, why they should invest in our product or our service. But right there is where many of us go sideways, right? We get it wrong. We hunker down and we learn the latest marketing techniques, much like Nick Petro was talking about earlier. You're online, you're reach your target audience, you're taking out ads and running funnels and writing blogs and putting everything on social media. And you're doing direct mail campaigns and trying to craft your words just right for your ideal client to take action. And look, I've done it too. I've spent more money than I care to count on learning from the experts on how to do all of this right online. Now, none of those tactics are wrong, right? They're just marketing tactics and they can be very successful. But with so much noise surrounding us and everyone clamoring for attention, differentiating yourself from the competition is crucial. If you want to grow and sustain a loyal client base, you've got to stand out from the crowd so you don't get lost in the sea of options that customers have in our ever connected world right now. And I think it's just going to get even more connected with COVID and everyone being online. You can reach out to anyone across the world at any time. So how do we differentiate ourselves? So what if I told you that you already have access to the answer? You may just not yet know how to tap into it. What it comes down to is leading from a place of courageous authenticity. But what does that really mean? Like, that just sounds like a bunch of buzzwords. So let's break it down. Literally first. We'll break it down literally. In the English dictionary, courage means bravery, and authenticity means to be genuine, real, and representative of one's true nature. Now, there are many definitions of leadership, right? But to quote John Maxwell, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So courageously authentic leadership at its core just means to bravely represent your true nature to influence others. So think about that for a minute. I want you to actually write that down. If you grab a pen and piece of paper, there's a couple of things I'd like you to write down throughout the presentation, because what you write, you invite. Maybe you've heard that before. So write down, courageously authentic leadership means to bravely represent your true nature to influence others. And since we're talking about authenticity and being real, let's look at reality. In order for you to have a business instead of a hobby, you need to make money to keep the business going. And regardless of how you feel about sales, it is the core of your business. But let's get real about something else. Nobody likes to feel like we're being sold, right? I mean, we don't want to be swindled. And we're naturally skeptical when someone approaches us and is like, hey, I've got a deal for you. We're like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. So the solution is to have a process to connect with your clients or customers, genuinely earn their trust, and bring real value to them. It takes courageously authentic leadership to do that. So I would like to share a story with you about a highly unlikely entity that was able to tap into this secret sauce, and then share a few ways that you can also implement courageously authentic leadership in your business and your marketing approach. So a few years ago, I was called back to active duty Air Force. Just means I went back full time for 18 months to be the director of marketing and communication for AFWERX, AFWERX. AFWERX is the Air Force's innovation catalyst, and they had just come online in early 2018, so pretty new. AFWERX was created to think outside the box in the federal government, yes, and design innovative pathways for airmen inside the Air Force to bring their ideas into reality. They were also created to better engage the small business and startup communities to work with the Air Force to bring emerging technologies to the warfighter faster. Now, to do that, AFWERX needed to connect with small businesses and non-traditional contributors to earn their trust and encourage them to work with the federal government. Now, it is no secret that an agile startup and the federal government don't exactly operate the same way. And I don't know about you, but when most entrepreneurs think about working with the government, they envision piles of seemingly endless and needless paperwork and long hours cutting through bureaucratic red tape. They may not be too far off most of the time. But by the same token, when airmen inside the Air Force thought of bringing up new ideas that challenged the status quo, they also envisioned roadblock after roadblock and no real pathway to bring their ideas to reality. So at AFWERX, we knew that's what we were up against. And we had to help people see that we were doing it differently. And in order for them to see that we were doing it differently, we needed a different strategy. And from a marketing perspective, we had to figure out how to help small businesses and non-traditional contributors see the Air Force as a business partner of choice. Wait, a what? Like a large cog in the wheel of this bureaucratic federal government? A business partner of choice for a fast-moving startup? Like that didn't even make sense. So we definitely had our work cut out for us to get over that hurdle. And of course, like we first had to address the real pain points that I just mentioned, actually making things better, actually creating pathways for things to come to fruition. So in order to do that, we got curious. And that's point number one that I'd also like you to write down. Get curious. We did not assume that we already knew what our customers needed and wanted. We asked questions. We learned design thinking principles, and we sought guidance from other innovative entities outside the government to uncover ideas and develop pathways that created more opportunities and made it easier for airmen to source their ideas and for small businesses to engage and partner with us. And we did that in many ways, and ultimately it ended up being really successful. In less than 2 years, more than 60,000 airmen joined our new idea sourcing platform, and they started seeing traction on their ideas. Smaller innovation hubs called spark cells organically and from a grassroots perspective just started forming at Air Force bases around the world with absolutely no mandate of any kind to do that. So that was really exciting to see. In fact, in all AFWERX did, we simply guided anyone who wanted to stand up a local spark cell. And then within the first 2 years, we went from 2 spark cells to 80. So 80 spark cells were up and running across the Air Force, giving these airmen an opportunity to have their voice heard and bring their ideas to the forefront. From the small business perspective, we reformed the application process for the Air Force's Small Business Innovation Research Fund. Now, those contracts encourage domestic small businesses to engage in federal research and research development that has the potential for commercialization. And the SBIR Fund is actually, it'd been around since the 1980s, but in the history of the program, they had never brought in more than 70 applicants per submission round. When AFWERX got really curious about how we could lower the barrier of entry and make it more accessible for small businesses to work with us, more than 1,000 applications came in during each and every submission round. That had never happened before. And you might notice the common thread among each of these successful outcomes from the spark cells, the idea platform, and the reformed SBIR application process. The thread is that the success of all of them hinged on the willingness of our target audience to engage in our offering and take a risk on something new. But for that to occur, we knew we had to win the hearts and minds of some pretty skeptical folks. We had to create a culture where people trusted us and came to understand that it was safe and profitable to engage with us. And it's not too different from what entrepreneurs do every day to grow and maintain a thriving business. Now, in AFWERX's case, we knew we couldn't use the same old approach of just tell people how great we are and what we did and it's awesome. No, they had heard about all of these flash in the pan initiatives before. So why should AFWERX be any different? But we were different. And we approached our marketing differently too, from a place of authenticity. We knew that our audience needed to feel, not just know, but feel that our attention and intention was focused on creating positive, lasting outcomes for them. It wasn't just about us creating a shiny new object, that brought no real long-term value to them. And that is point number 2 for you to write down. Focus your attention and intention on creating successful outcomes for them, not yourself. When your clients and customers succeed, you succeed. And there are 2 books that I recommend for all marketing professionals: Donald Miller's Story Brand Marketing and Jeff Henderson's Know What You're For, F-O-R. AFWERX Marketing used the Story Brand framework to focus on connecting with our audience. We made them the hero in the story, not us. The successes were theirs, and we were simply a conduit to help them get there. And let's be honest, people care about their own lives. They care about what they need and what they want. And the way to connect with your audience is to focus your attention and intention on them and celebrate their successes, not your own. So when we told the stories of AFWERX successes, the story was about the airmen who their idea had gained support and traction, or it was amplifying the small business that worked with some of the programs that we championed and ended up 10xing their valuation, winning numerous entrepreneurial business awards and expanding internationally. So while AFWERX was simply the conduit to help that process along, the praise and recognition belonged to those who chose to engage with us, and we made sure to amplify their successes. In return, they were raving fans of AFWERX, and our circle of influence, or leadership, grew and grew. to the point where in 2020, less than 3 years into this experiment called AFWorks, Fast Company named AFWorks number 16 in the world for best workplaces for innovators. That's a first for a federal government entity, I'm pretty sure. And it took a lot of courage by many people to buck the status quo. It took a hefty dose of authenticity to be real about our shortcomings and show our customers that we were right there with them, listening to what they needed and wanted. The process that brought about this success for AFWorks is the same process for leaders and business owners across the board to positively influence those around them. The process of stepping into courageous authenticity so we may bravely represent our true nature to influence others is pretty simple. So the first one we already talked about, get curious. When you are in a state of pure curiosity, you open your mind to possibilities you may never have discovered otherwise. Your brain is actually the best search engine on the planet. And the quality of your questions will dictate the quality of your responses. So if you are struggling to attract the right customer to your business and ask yourself, why am I having such a hard time getting clients? Well, guess what your brain's going to return to you? All of the reasons that you're not getting clients. Like, that's not helpful. So you're just going to stay stuck swirling around in what's not going well. However, there are 3 questions from Donald Miller's story brand that I recommend that you ask yourself. They are essential in authentically serving your ideal client and becoming indispensable to them. Question number 1, what do they care about? Number 2, what are their pain points? And 3, how does my product, service, or offering help them solve those pain points and make their life better? When you get really curious about these 3 questions, then you will discover what to focus your attention and intention on to bring your clients to you. And that's the second point, attention and intention. If your attention is focused on your customer, but your intention is focused on what you are going to get out of the transaction instead of what is best for them, they feel that. And people respond to how you feel about them. They feel your energy. Now, there's real science behind all that. It's not just woo-woo crystals and pixie dust, but we don't have time to go into all that right now because I got to wrap this up. So needless to say, when you are operating from a desperate state of needing to make the sale or a state of not really caring about your customer, but trying to put on the face of someone who cares, your intention is completely skewed and your clients will feel distrust and disconnection from you. And that brings us to the last point to wrap up with. Brene Brown, her definition of a connection is the energy that is created between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment. And interestingly, you cannot be in a state of judgment and curiosity at the same time. In fact, curiosity is actually your secret weapon against judgment. Additionally, true connection comes from alignment of your attention and intention. And that true connection changes everything for you. Because when we are connected, we feel a sense of community. And with a sense of community comes a sense of commitment. So if you want to create a loyal tribe of raving fans that will keep you in business and keep you serving for as long as you wish to stay in the game, lead your teams, your clients, and your own life from a place of courageous authenticity. It is truly the key to your competitive advantage. Thank you for spending these 20 minutes with me. If you would like to connect further, you can find me at leadoutsidethelines.com or on LinkedIn at TP Sunshine or in the speakers tab at the One Business World website.